The Survivor Specialists are back, and today it is our final preseason Survivor 50 episode. I am joined by, oh my God, he was Russell Muscle TV. Now he is Riz God Hater, flipping double birds before we even get 30 seconds into the podcast. Russell Muscle TV, what's going on, man? How you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here on the Survivor Specials. I'm always happy to be here. I hope that the podcast doesn't cancel out on us this time, but Survivor 50 is going to be great. Phil, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so, all right. This is going to be the prop bet game for this year. So you're 38 seconds in. You want to know what's going to happen with the prop bet this year. You want to know how to win a custom Pop Funko from Todd Herzog. Continue listening. Don't leave yet. This is not going to be a season-long thing like we usually do. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. So this is going to be props every week. Now, normally, if you've played along with us in the past, we'll do a podcast before the season begins. Everybody will answer. And then once they're done answering their questions, that's it. They're done. You don't look at it again until the end of the year. Hopefully you get an email from survivorspecialist@gmail.com and it tells you you won. And if you did, you already got your season 50 buff, as a lot of people from last season won. Although this year the prize is the custom Pop Funko from Todd Herzog. So anyway, the way it's going to work this year, we are over at Real TV Fantasy. If you haven't ever checked out Real TV Fantasy, that's where we do our fantasy game. That's where we do our power rankings game. Now, we do both of those games for our top tier patrons only. But for this prop bet game this year, we're going to keep it open to everybody. Anybody in the Survivor community, your mom, your dad, they want to play. They don't want to go online. Send them the link. The link is in the description for this video. And what's going to happen is every week there are going to be 10 questions that you have to answer before the episode starts. Every question you get right, you get a point. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season is going to win the custom Pop Funko from Todd Herzog. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm no fool. This is now going to be my fourth. I had to think about it. This is going to be my fourth fully returning player season. I know that returning player seasons are more susceptible to be spoiled than anything else. So that rather than saying who's going to make the jury for 3 points, this person, or who's going to win for 2 points, this person, I've decided we're going to go a totally different route. And the way that this is going to work, these questions are going to be kind of general. Some will be specifically based on an episode. Some will be a little bit more, any episode could have them, as you'll hear as we go through these questions. But it's super easy. You're just going to click the link in the description for this video. You're going to go to Real TV Fantasy. You're just going to put in your team name, whatever your name is, and you are just going to answer questions week in and week out. I'll probably put the questions up normally around when I'm doing predictions and power rankings, which tends to be Sundays. So that's normally when the questions will come out. The questions are already there. All 10 of them are there. And as Zach says, will we be able to see the scores as it's taking place? If so, I like it so much better. Yes, you will. The scores are going to be updated after every single episode. Life is going to be so much better. Now, the other big change before I let Russell Muscle talk, this is my favorite part of having a guest on this type of podcast, is Russell, you just sit there and shut up. Don't say anything. So what we are going to be doing is normally it would be you could only use each player once. If you want to answer all 10 questions with Angelina, answer all 10 questions with Angelina. It does not matter this season. Answer what you think is going to happen. So I'm going to go through each of the questions. As we go through the questions, we'll talk about it. This is going to serve as another predictions type episode. Every Tuesday, these will be airing. I know this one's obviously airing on a Monday. Every now and then it might switch to a Monday, but for the most part, this is going to be a new Tuesday night show. So getting your answers in from watching this video to getting your answers in before the episode, it's normally going to be pretty tight, but I'm hoping that it's going to be something people enjoy, and it's going to go along with Matt Chat that Tegwith is doing, digging deeper, episode recaps, and of course, predictions and power rankings, which will still be on Sundays. So power rankings are still happening for top tier patrons, but this is open to everybody. Now, Russell, I sent you everything yesterday, so you get a little bit of a head start. You're a little bit better than everybody. First of all, what do you think of the site? Was it easy? Is there anything that I should address? Because I obviously got the walkthrough from Peter over at Real TV Fantasy, so I knew what I was doing. Was there anything you were confused about that you want to alert fans about now before we hit the 5-minute mark and they all close this episode?
No, I'm being serious. I'm not getting paid to talk about this. This was so easy to do, everybody. Make sure you sign up, get your entries in. I'm a big Riz God hater, as you can tell by the name right there. So I didn't pick Riz God for anything, but literally you put your email in, you sign up. Phil, I'm sure, will have a link in the description for this actual league that you'll enter in. And then once you're in, you click the question button that's on the left. You scroll down, they have all the players with their social handles, how they're doing throughout the season. I'm sure that'll be updated live, what tribes they're on, because I haven't done much preseason prep for this season. So I had all that ready to go for me. And then you plugged it in. And right now it looks like each question's 1 point. And it's going to be really fun. Super, super easy stuff.
Yeah. And I'm keeping it as 1 point throughout. And Russell, you're the guest. I'm going to have guests for this each week. But Russell, you're the guest who actually gets to play along all season. I'm sure by the time we get to episode 10, somebody's gonna be like, what the hell is this? But here we are. So these episodes, though, we're talking about the show. We're talking about what do you think is going to happen? We're not just basing it solely around these 10 questions, but this is going to be the format for this season. If you don't want to listen to us, just head on over to the link. You can play along anyway. I'll never know you didn't listen. But if you are still this far in, like this video so that more people can find out about this, so that when you win, you can feel even better about yourself. And that's a good thing. So like the video and subscribe to the channel. So you said you haven't really been doing much in the preseason. Now, we haven't stopped. We've been nonstop Survivor 50 pretty much since last June. Survivor 49 happened somewhere in there. AU versus the World somewhere happened in there. But we have been nonstop. So what is your take coming into Survivor 50's premiere? What's your excitement level at 2 days away?
Oh, I don't want you to mistake, Phil, that not doing preparation for Survivor 50 is the same thing as not being excited. This is the most I've been excited for Survivor since Winners at War, 100%. But I didn't want to do any prep. I put out a couple videos here and there, but I didn't want to do much prep for this season because I want to be going into it as a full fan. Mm-hmm. That's the main reason for me. Like Survivor 49, it was a good season. Survivor 48, it had its good moments and some ups and downs. But for the new era for me, I love Survivor. Survivor's like a slice of pizza. It's gonna be good no matter what, always. But I hate how I started to feel like Survivor's starting to drag a little bit. And I don't want to feel like that because I love this show so damn much. So for Survivor 50, my plan was I'm going to go into it as a pure fan. If I want to talk about something and make a video on it, I will. If I don't want to, I'm not going to. I'm still going to do my episode recaps. But my thing was, how can I love Survivor 50 the most I can? And I thought, how did I go into Survivor episodes back in the day before I had a YouTube channel talking about it? And that was really it. I watched the trailers. I watched a little bit of Mike Bloom's stuff and some RHAP. I watched some of the specialist podcasts.
I was going to say, what the hell, man?
Yeah, I'm watching your stuff. I'm commenting on it. Actually, I listened to the whole Tegwith and Alexa podcast. Yeah. That was such a good one. But that's the thing I'm going into this season at. How can I be the biggest Survivor 50 fan I can be? Because I find when my videos are at the best, when Survivor is like my biggest passion, and I love it so much. It's not a job. So that's kind of the reason I'm going at it. But long story short, Survivor 50 is going to be amazing. I'm so excited for Wednesday night. It's going to be like Christmas, and I'm pumped.
Yeah, no, I'm super into it. And so while the prize for this game is going to be a custom Pop Funko from Todd, the prize for our fantasy game this year is going to be the Fitz Tower from you. So there you go. So the Fitz Tower will be coming from Idle Plays. And if you're interested in purchasing any puzzles from Idle Plays, we're partnering again. And that link is also in the description. So this feels like a giant ad for 8 minutes and 45 seconds, but I promise you, we're talking Survivor 50. We just got to get all this stuff out of the way somehow. And I figured what guy better than, the second place Olympian over here, which is Russell, just figured come in, sit here and have to take crap from an American the day after.
You know what?
That cockiness.
Let me get out of this way. Pause for a little second. Some bad bounces are going to happen. And sometimes the better team's going to lose the game. That just is what it is. Let's move past it here.
Sounds like a Surrey Field stan prepping for the inevitable downfall halfway through this season when you're like, well, sometimes the better player just doesn't win. All right, so let's get into these questions. I am going to show, so these are not my official answers, but I am going to share my screen with everybody so that everybody can see my screen, and then we're going to go through these questions one by one. We'll talk through a little bit of everything, but I just want you guys to be able to see it. So if you could see this right here, that's what it's going to end up looking like. Now, obviously, it's blurry on my end. My screen is small, but trust me, it's going to be bigger than that. So who will have the most confessionals this week? Who will cast the deciding vote this week, meaning the vote Jeff reads when he says blank person voted out? Who will be the first player to holding the tribal immunity idol. I can't even read. But so what'll happen is if you click these, it just drops down everybody's name.
It's
So all
easy.
of the answers are going to be names. You click the name. Let's say you wanted Stephanie. You hit save answers, and now it's saved, and that's that. So boom, we are done. That's all you guys needed to know. All right.
And it says I was tied for first place. This is awesome. Let's keep it that
That's
way.
what happens when you're early on. You know, when it hasn't started, everybody's feeling good about themselves. So for the purposes of this first episode and for every week moving forward, I know a lot of times people will say, okay, you say episode 1. I mean everything that happens on Wednesday night. So if there are multiple of some of these answers, then multiple people will get this. There are certain answers here that can only be one person. But if there's multiple of some of these, that's how it is. And it is all about the night that it is happening. I don't care. I know Wednesday night is 3 hours, and I think it's the first 2 episodes technically. This is episode 1. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, as far as our podcast is concerned, every question is asking you to answer things about Wednesday night. And for confessional talk and stuff like that, the full 3 hours is going to count. If there's a tie, multiple people will get answers. So here we go. First question is going to be, and I actually have to find it now because I clicked the wrong button. First question is, who will have the most confessionals in this episode? And I'm really excited about this one because I think a lot of people are coming into this going, you know, we have our favorites, we have our narrators. Who's it going to be? So I'm going to do I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to take a back seat here. You're a Riz God hater. Troy Zan calls him Riz Guy. Obviously, everybody, if you're not sure, I know Riz God might be like coming in like, dude, what the hell? I'm in a snowball fight in the middle of Central Park. Just leave me alone. We're dealing with 2.5 feet of snow up here in the Northeast. You know, it's all in good fun, or maybe it's not. We'll have to find out as the podcast goes on here. But who do you think is getting the most confessionals in this episode?
Yeah, so I decided to like spread my basket as much as I could here. I could have gone into this this challenge, this game, as I'm going to go all in on one player. Maybe they flame out and go crazy this episode and put them all on that one guy or girl. But I decided no, to have more fun and have a little bit more conversation for this podcast. For myself, I made a rule for this episode 1 where I could only pick a player once. That was,
I don't have that rule.
I wanted to do that to spread things out a little bit, and because I want Survivor 50 episode 1 to be more of a spread out. I want to hear from everyone. I want everyone to get to experience this episode. And really, it comes down to one of the people who I'm most excited to see back in Survivor. We haven't seen them back in so long. The first promo came out. Everyone online was hating it. I was pumped that Mr. Beast is in the promo. That's going to be awesome. But who was the first person we heard from? It was Coach. Coach is going to get the most confessionals, hands down. I'm locking it in.
You know, okay, so this is going to be a fun podcast because we're going to have different answers as we eventually go on here. Coach is the answer to this question. Okay, look, I did some research for this because I get competitive with this. During season 48, I won the fantasy game. Now, I had to pick against Blake and Will. Everybody else who was participating in that game could just pick whatever 6 players they wanted. I still won. That's how good I was. That's also how bad. Will was like, well, you read spoilers. No, I didn't read any spoilers. Also, I was drafting against you and Blake. Even if I did read spoilers, I can't make you guys not pick certain people. But so for this one, Coach had the most confessionals in the Heroes versus Villains premiere. Russell was coming off of 108 confessionals in Samoa, and Coach beat Russell. And you know what the crazy part is? That tribe won. That tribe didn't even go to tribal council. So to me, I'm going with Coach. Now, we'll obviously see at the end of all of this, maybe because this is technically 2 episodes, air quotes, that will be a little bit different. But I am going to say Coach. Now, St. Cliffo says, is this an example of one where if the top 2 tie for confessionals either count, or is there a tiebreaker by time or something? No. Top 2 count. Like if it's tied, they both count. This isn't something where it just has to be one answer. That's also why I'm doing this over the course of the entire season and not giving out a prize every week. 1, because none of us in the community can really give out a prize every week. But 2, because can you, Russell? Really?
Yeah, every week I give out puzzles.
Oh my God. All right. Well, Russell's better than us. I can't give out anything else. So here we are. But so that's why we're doing it at the end of the year, because, you know, this first week you can get 1 right. You might not even realize that this is happening week 1, and then we get to week 2 and all of a sudden you're having a good time. So yeah, this would be one where if Coach and Colby both end up with 26 confessionals, they both get, you get the point, either one you put down. So, but we're both going with Coach. Look, man, I just think this is easy. You win Heroes versus Villains. That means you're probably going to win this season as well.
So, but Phil, before we move on, like, was there anyone in contention for this other than Coach for you, or was it Coach going to be doing it hands down?
So, okay, so I was looking at the tribes a little bit, and I was thinking about who do I think is going to lose? Because the tribe that I think is going to lose should probably get the most time. And the tribe that I think is going to lose is the purple tribe, which has Q on it. So I was thinking potentially that Q could be in consideration here. But no matter how good Q is, other than hide and seek, Q didn't dominate that cast the way you think he did. Like Charlie ended up with significantly more confessionals than Q, and he was only in 2 more episodes. So I could see Q doing it, but then I looked at the rest of that tribe. I don't see Colby or Kyle or Stephanie or Genevieve or Aubrey or Angelina being a narrator. Maybe Rizgod, but that's kind of a different kind of energy than the rest of the cast. Devins and Sari and Christian, I feel like are going to split a lot of time together. And then I look at Coach's tribe and I say, Mike White's good to say. Remember the White Lotus? Jonathan's not going to really do much. He was quiet. I think that Chrissy, Dee, Camilla, Tiffany, they're fighting for confessionals. And I know that Charlie had a lot on his season, but I think that Charlie is probably going to be a little bit quieter on this season. I think the circumstances of what happened on 46 led to his big edit. So when I look at this, I look at that tribe. Coach is the narrator there no matter what, whereas they're on the other tribes, people are competing for that narrator role. I think it's got to be Coach.
That's hilarious because last Friday I came out with a Survivor 50, my bootless predictions for the season. I don't know any spoilers. Get that out of the way. I don't know anything. And I have Q as one of the first people out of the season. So I think if Q's out early, they're going to want to show him as much as they can. So for me, it was between Coach and Q as well.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, so this is an easy one, right? So these are probably where people are going. It's probably one of those two. Maybe we'll have a star who jumps in. Who knows? Second question. Who will cast the deciding vote this week? And what I mean by that is the vote Jeff reads when he says first person voted out of Survivor is that vote. Whoever writes that one down. It doesn't, oh, well, it was a 7-1 vote. Who's really the deciding vote? The deciding vote is the one that Jeff is reading as the vote that is saying you are going home. Now, if it's a tie and they have to draw rocks this early in the season, good for all of us. And I'll have to figure out what the hell that means. I might just give everybody a point at that time if that tribe was at tribal. So Russell, once again, going to you. I already said I think that purple tribe is going to go. So I picked somebody from that purple tribe. What do you think, Russell?
Phil, we need someone else on this podcast. We are agreeing so much at this point. So here's the thing, Chad, if you're all listening, follow what me or Phil are doing, because apparently we're all in agreement here. I think the Purple's tribe's going to tribal council first as well. In my boot list predictions, I'm saying, hey, the winners are going to be going out early. I think Kyle's going to be going out first on that tribe. They're going to get the winners out. And I think Q is going to be a crazy character on that tribe. They're going to want to highlight and show him as much as they can. So my pick is going to be Q is going to be the last deciding vote there.
Okay. Q is going to be the deciding vote. Now, the other thing I will say here is if there are 2 vote outs in this Wednesday night, that's two people will then be the answer to this question. Again, this is going into there can be more than one. I am going with, and I'm going to spell it right, unlike some people here, Rizgod, Rizgod, baby, the man, the myth, the legend, whatever else I'm supposed to say. I'm going to go with Rizgod here. And my reason is this. You're bringing Rizgod and Savannah back from season 49 to season 50. What does that say? That says you really believe in these people, that they can compete with the big dogs like they are on this season. You're going to want to highlight the fact that Rizgod belongs. And if this tribe loses, you're grasping at straws a little bit here, but let's say it is a new era player who goes home. It might be Rizgod who ultimately flips on the new era to get rid of them. But if it's an old school player who goes home, you're going to have so many confessionals from Rizgod being like, man, I can't believe I'm here with Colby and Stephanie, legends. This is awesome. This is so great. And I got to vote them out. And that last vote's going to come up and we're going to be like, wow, Rizgod voted for Colby. I can't believe it. So I think Rizgod just fits into here a little bit. Now, this is a random one. This is one of those you're throwing it at the wall and hoping it sticks. But I'm going to go with Rizgod, and we're going from the same tribe. That's fun. All right. I got to look for question number 3 now. Give me a second.
Yeah, our next one here is who will be the first player shown holding the tribal immunity idol?
So this is, okay. Who will be the first player shown holding the tribal immunity idol? So yes, what that means is when Jeff hands it to them, here you go. You know, this team wins or this team gets second place. Normally it's whoever wins gets to touch it first. The first person to grab that idol, who is that going to be? So
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go first again because I have such a scientific reason for this. It's crazy, and I don't want you to steal it from me.
Okay.
I'll go first on the next one.
Yeah, this is just not fair. You're picking on the guest here, the Canadian. Purple Tribe's going to be going to tribal council first. We got teal, blue. I'm going to call it blue versus orange for who's going to be winning. And I'm going to say that orange is going to be the ones touching it first. And from the orange tribe, I'm hoping that Ozzy isn't washed. I hope that the 43-year-old can still compete and do his thing. Who's going to touch it first? Who was on Jeff Probst's podcast? Who is Jeff Probst's best friend? Who replaced Colby as Jeff Probst's guy out there on the island, who he's going to want to dap up right away? It's Rick Devens. He's going to hand it off to Rick and be like, hey, Rick, good job. Stay safe out there.
I liked the option. So I actually went with the Teal Tribe as the winners here.
Good.
And so this is one, if you're asking, well, is it the first person on each tribe? No, it's the first person in this episode to touch or to grab the immunity idol. So if this is a double boot and there's 2 immunity challenges, it only counts for the first challenge. This is the first person on the night to do it. I think that Teal is going to be the tribe that ultimately wins. Because I think they have Jonathan. Coach is way better than people think. D is an absolute beast. And they have 2 great puzzle makers there in Chrissy and Camilla. So I think they are going to win. And there's scientific reason why I am picking who I am picking is because when they stand on the mat, especially when they're in the tribal phase, Jeff has the shorter people stand in the front. And so when it comes time for, hey, blah, 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 you win immunity, come on up and grab it. Who's going to be the one who takes a step or 2 off, and who is Jeff going to walk towards, or who would Jeff hand it to first? I am going with Camilla, speaking of Canadians. I'm going to take her. She's guaranteed to be in the front row. She's going to be standing there close to everybody, and I think that she will be the one who ultimately reaches out, and I could even see if they do a puzzle, they say, Camilla, get out there, go grab it. But I also think Chrissy is a very, very good choice here, especially since it's been so long since Chrissy has been on TV. But as Daryl Seymour says, Phil is using science. Yeah, I am. I'm using science.
So, chat, are you going to go off vibes and the Survivor podcast with Jeff Probst? Or are you going to go off of Phil's fake science here? Like, let me know, because I think the vibes are always a better option.
And that's why you know, again, silver medals. That's what happens. You don't go with vibes, you go with science. Okay, that's it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought about that one. I'm like, that one's really random. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, no, there's legitimately only 12 people who can grab that. It's got to be somebody standing in the front row, which pretty much makes it one of the women, because the women are shorter across the board on this season.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I like it.
The chat says, Daryl says, I got to go with Phil. And Pat Sox says, Phil Nye, the science guy. So
Boston Red Sox logo. Get out of here.
I know. I get it. All right, next one up. What player won't be asked a question by Jeff at the opening challenge? So by opening challenge, I mean they get off the boat, they walk out. Now, I don't think this has leaked, but I think it's probably going to leak soon of who's going to be talking. So this is before and after the challenge. Okay, so they get off the boat, they walk out. Jeff says, Riz God, what's it like to stand next to Colby? And Riz God just starts crying, sobbing, turns into a puddle, falls on the ground.
That's why I'm a hater.
Yeah, people like Russell just start booing, throwing hate at him on the internet from different burner accounts to try to get him to, just like disappear. And so this counts that. This counts the build up to the challenge. And then they compete in the challenge. And then after the challenge, it's, hey, Jenna, it's been a long time since you've done that. How you feel? And I just can't believe, blah. Before, after, only what we see on Wednesday night does not count if it's like some secret scene or something like that. So
Wentworth doesn't count?
What'd you say?
Sorry.
No, Wentworth does not. But so who is not going to get a question throughout this entire thing? And I, to break everybody's hearts, am going to go with Genevieve as the person who is not going to get one. And here's my reason. She has no connections out there. Right? She's the only Survivor 47 player who is stepping on the island. Number 2, she's not somebody that hasn't played in a long time. Stephanie LaGrossa, Colby, Jenna, coach, they're getting questions. But Genevieve, only 3 seasons ago, she's somebody who can be ignored because you can say, Rizgod, you just played with Savannah. What's that like? And then the two of them both answer. Kyle and Camilla, you had this great duo. All of these different things. I'm going to go with Genevieve. I see Jonathan in the chat from St. Cliffo, Emily from Daryl Seymour. I could see Jonathan, but I'm going to go with Genevieve because I just think that Genevieve has no storyline off the bat. It's going to take time to develop her storyline, so you don't need to develop it at the opening challenge.
Yeah, so this one is actually a question that took me a little bit of time. I did a little research myself, and I looked back at Game Changers, Heroes versus Villains, these all-star seasons, and I thought, okay, where does Jeff go to? And for Heroes versus Villains, he likes to go to people who have those connections together, like you were talking about. And he would go to the Micronesia crew, Parvati, Sari, James, like have that connection there. And then they all kind of smile at each other like, hey, we're not working together. And so that made me not want to go to a player from Survivor 46. But then I thought there's so many big names here that I thought Tiffany's going to be a good pick. Tiffany's my winner pick, early winner pick for the season. You're going to go with a girl. You're going to go with someone who maybe is going to be underestimated just because of there's so many other bigger names out there. And that's kind of why I'm going with Tiffany here. I just think there's so many names down this list that you go to before Tiffany. Now, the only way where I'm wrong here and I don't get a point is if Q just goes crazy and jumping up and down. And then I'm sure Jeff will go to Tiffany and be like, hey, what's this Q guy doing again?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I think this is a locked-in answer.
I do feel like because Q is there, that gives Tiffany a shot. Because it's like, Tiffany, you had your game blown up by Q. You got voted out with an idol. Then Q got voted out with an idol. Like, you can go to both of those players and say it. But I do agree with you. Tiffany is somebody that's an easy, unless Tiffany's going to make a really deep run, like, why are you highlighting her early? Now, the other thing I will say about this question is, if everybody gets asked a question, then there's no point. Like, nobody gets the points for it, and it's a wash. So, it has to be that. But I'm saying also it has to come from Jeff Probst. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I like that.
Just be like, oh my God, that's so great, Camilla. And it's like Genevieve clapping in the background. It doesn't count. Like, it has to be a direct question from Jeffrey.
Next up,
wait, hang on. Before we do that, Heroes versus Villains, Randy and Sugar didn't get talked to, did they? They didn't get asked anything.
Nope.
They didn't. Yeah. So it could happen. All right. Well, they also went out really, really early. So we'll see. Or you wanted to do it. It seems like you were ready to, you were pumped.
Yeah, I got this beside right here. Who will find the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol? Really, I'm pumped about this because it means we got more Mr. Beast time later on in the season.
Get out of here. So Jeff said at the SCAD TV Fest that the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol, this was reported by Bloom from this event that was in Atlanta a couple months ago or weeks ago or whatever it was. It was said that, let me see. I got to find it. Oh my God. What is happening to my computer? We got to stick together here, Russell. Help me out.
So the Boomerang Idol, I saw that report as well. It's going to be found in the premiere. Jeff talks about how, hey, these celebrity things, they're not going to impact the game. I'm just paraphrasing here. I don't remember exactly.
I can't find it either. Yeah, it's not taking me to it for some reason.
But yeah, Jeff was trying to like convince everyone, hey, this is not going to affect the season in a negative way. It's only going to uplift the season. The Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is going to be the one in episode 1, and I'll kind of explain these celebrity cameos for the rest of the season.
And we don't know how the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol is going to be determined between the cast, like which tribe is it going to be on? Like, we don't know any of that, right?
No, we don't. We don't.
Okay. So I'm going to go completely out on a limb, and I'm just going to say Aubrey, just because.
So we do have a little bit of info in the first promo where Mr. Beast was in. They talked about how Rick Devens was there. Hey, the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. That would be the obvious answer, but I don't think that's going to be it. What I'm guessing happens is Jeff's going to say, hey, we have game-changing advantages this season with celebrity guests, and hidden on the island this episode is the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. So we're going to have confessionals from a whole bunch of players being like, the Billie Eilish Idol could change the game for me. but it's not going to be him finding it. I think who's a player who's going to be out there playing hard. They haven't played Survivor in a long time, and they have experience finding idols and advantages. It's Ozzy. I'm going with Ozzy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a totally fair thing. And if it is a hint that like the Orange Tribe wins, maybe I should have been looking at this as the Orange Tribe wins the first challenge.
Yeah.
And so they win the first challenge, and then they turn around and they go, hey, you guys now get the clue to the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. Rick Devens is narrating it. Ozzy finds it. But that tribe has a lot of people who have found stuff. Savannah, Sari, Christian, Ozzy, Devens. So I'm going to go with Aubrey, though. I mean, either way, I think it's all,
Yeah. So, but Chad, as you're making your picks for that one, go with someone I think from Rick's tribe. Like Rick's the one who got the confessional in the promo. Go with someone from that Orange tribe, and you'll hopefully get right.
Yeah, that's a good call. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should change my pick. But no, I'm not going to give you that.
Nah.
All right. So for the next one, it's going to be who will be the last player to get a confessional in the premiere. Now, there's a huge caveat to this. Their name has to appear with them on screen for that to count the first time. So, for example, at the beginning, I've been waiting 26 years to do this. That's Jenna Lewis, but unless Jenna Lewis's name pops up on screen, I'm not counting that as a confessional, because obviously when they're getting on the boats, when they're coming in, all of that, a lot of people will get like this voiceover, whatever it is, but I'm not counting that as a confessional. That might count as a confessional when confessionals are added up, but I'm saying they have to be sitting there or standing there. Their name has to come up at the bottom. Who's going to be the last person to register a confessional on Wednesday night? Now, that also, to clarify this, that does not mean that they have the final confessional of the night. That means that everybody else has gotten at least one confessional. They're the last person to get at least one confessional. That's what I mean by this. Does that make sense?
Okay. I misunderstood this one at the start, but
I'm going to change this question then to make a little bit more sense. So you go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So originally when I put this down, I thought who was going to be getting the last confessional before we enter tribal council, not who's going to be the last person to get a confessional. So this changes my answer a little bit. Walking through my process here, guys, when I thought the question was the other way, I went with what tribe's going to tribal council, and then who's going to have that deciding thing. And kind of like what Phil was talking about, Rizzo picking between old school and new school. I thought Rizzo is probably going to get one of the last confessionals, talking about that. But because I misunderstood and I'm dumb, be smarter than me, and I'm going to quickly change my answer here.
So I feel like, though, it is the way you had it definitely makes sense, because I had to change that. Who will be the last player to get their first confessional in the premiere? That makes a lot more sense. Because I feel like the way it was worded, most people would probably take it your way, but then again, when you're the one writing it, sometimes you get it in your own head, and that's what happened with me. So I changed that. Who will be the last player to get their first confessional in the premiere? For this one, since you have to change yours, I'll go first. I was thinking Genevieve again, but I don't want to jump on Genevieve, especially that's the purple tribe. They might lose. I'm not feeling great about them. So I'm going to go elsewhere. And I'm going to say who's somebody who fits the story, but isn't the most integral to the story. We'll see how it goes with them, but like they're not going to be massive on this season necessarily, although they will be massive on this season from a physical standpoint. And I'm going to go with Jonathan as my pick for this one.
Cool. I like it. I'm going to stick with the purple tribe, actually. I'm going to go with them. I think an episode format, you go for the tribe that wins. You go to the losing tribes in the new era. You go back and forth. Yeah, you go back and forth with the tribes a little bit more. You go to a challenge, winning tribe, then you go losing tribe, usually for the rest of the time. Mm-hmm. So you're going to spend more time on the episode on the winning tribes and then more on the losing tribe at the very, very end. So I think if anyone's going to get the last confessional from the losing tribe, I think let's go with Aubrey. I think it's been a long time since she's played now. And although her confessionals are always gold, I just think that you're picking at straws here. There's so many great players and so many great confessionalists. This is an all-star season. So that's a tough one for me.
This is the one where when we get down and it's May 18th and we're doing the final one of these and people are like, wow, I'm down by 1. Why am I down by 1? This is the type of question that somebody got right and you got wrong, and that's why you're losing by 1. Because this is a 1 in 24 shot. I mean, there's a reason for everybody to get the last one. The only person I'm confident won't, there's 3 of them: Savannah, Jenna, and Colby. Colby and Jenna and Coach, really. There's 4. Because Coach is going to get one early. Colby's going to get one right off the bat. Jenna's going to get one right off the bat. And Savannah's going to get one because she just won the season. So, yeah, they're going to get confessionals early. It's trying to find this other person. But, it's kind of this is a crapshoot. This is a random one.
Yeah. But the next one I'm locked in on. I think everyone's getting the point on this next one.
What player will participate in a puzzle? Now, again, this could be 12 people on this, on Wednesday night. 12 people could do a puzzle. They actually have to be participating now. Now, if it's like, hey, we're all lifting these blocks, that's a puzzle, everybody's going to get a point. But whatever the challenge is, the person has to actually be participating in the puzzle. They can't be watching. So, if it's build the staircase like in Heroes versus Villains, then congrats, everybody's going to get that. But if it is a slide puzzle or something, you can't just be like, oh, they're pointing and saying, move that there, move that there. No, they have to be the ones who are physically doing it. So who are you picking?
Yeah, I'm picking someone who's doing a puzzle. Let's go Camilla. She's goated at puzzles.
So really easy. You're going Camilla. That's an obvious one. And I'm going Chrissy, because Chrissy and Camilla are going to be the puzzle people on that tribe. Chrissy was so dominant at puzzles on her season. It's insane.
The chat's going with me, though, so I think I should get an extra point.
They all just forget what Chrissy did because they didn't watch Road to 50, It's not my fault. It's not my fault, chat. Yeah, I'm going with Chrissy. I think that Chrissy, that's where she fits in. That's what she does. And especially being the older woman, Chrissy and Camilla are going to be doing the puzzle there. But especially being the older woman, I think it's way less likely that she would participate in a physical portion rather than the puzzle portion at this point.
Yeah. Like
easy one. So that was, for anybody who's wondering, that question was, what player will participate in a puzzle? Easy. All right. Next question. Who will mention a player that is not on season 50?
Okay. So you got to look at it. Who's a player that has played Survivor a bunch? Who's a player that has connections outside these 50? Who's a player that is beloved by everybody? And really, you could have gone with the Heroes versus Villains crew of Coach, Colby. You could have gone with Ozzy. He's got a lot of connections as well. But I thought, who's played Survivor most recently? Now, international Survivor, but still. I'm going with Suri Fields. I think you could talk about the connections with Parvati and the Black Widow. You could talk about, hey, Ozzy's back on here, but guess what? Amanda as well. That was a thing. There's so many ways that where Suri could bring up someone from her past of Survivor. And that's why that's a good answer, I think.
I love that answer. I think that Coach is a really good answer for this one as well, because he's played with so many people. But I needed to give my guy something, so I'm going to go with the Kolbster. I'm going to take him. He's starting off on a tribe with Stephanie, and I could see him and Stephanie having that conversation of, hey, when we played back in Heroes Villains, we went against Suri and with Tom, and how did that work? And they both say Tom really loud and wink at the camera, and everybody swoons and all that. But I feel like Colby also has a chance of mentioning Jerry. This might be my first time not playing with Jerry. And I feel like Colby is going to be a focal point of this season. I'm going to say a bad word very quickly. But back during Philippines, when Scoopin came back, they really focused on him in the first episode, big time. I think he had 8 confessionals, and I think he had 4 straight confessionals with nothing. But the storyline was about, he fell in the fire, he came back, now he's here. Colby is going to be such a massive narrator as that guy who hasn't done it in so long. He was the original hero, and now I'm back, and I don't have the Black Widow. He's mentioning players from his past. Now, this is, again, one where 15 of the 24 people could get this. Tiffany could say, I'm so happy Jelinski's not here. Count it. It doesn't matter if you're the first one, the last one, the second one, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to go with Colby, because I just think him and Stephanie are going to have conversations where they are going to mention people from Heroes versus Villains. And I think Colby almost absolutely is going to say Jerry's name.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how we're talking about, it's cool that Colby's back after so many years of not playing. I just watched the best episode of Survivor ever, the Heroes versus Villains episode 1. And one of the first confessionals is Colby saying, basically saying like, it's been so long. I wonder if I still got it. And that was season 20, and we're now in season 50. Like, this is going to be so fun to see Colby Donaldson back on our television.
You know how old Colby was during that season?
He was so washed. Superman in a fat suit.
He was like so old. Do you know how old he was?
30?
35.
Oh, that's pretty old, Phil.
I'm 34.
Yeah, if you're...
I'm just, yeah. I wish I could say I was Superman in the fat suit. I'm like not overweight, so I can't even say I'm in the fat suit, but I'm definitely not Superman. That's for sure. So brutal. Anyway, Colby was 35. It was like, you old man. And I'm like, damn, it sucks being the old man now.
Yeah, that's you.
That's me. All right. Next one. Who will be the first person Jeff asks a question at the first immunity challenge? This has to be the first immunity challenge. Who is the first person Jeff asks a question? Now, to cover our bases, this could be when they're walking. This isn't when they're walking in, okay? Because I'm not having it be like, how you doing, Purple Tribe? No, that doesn't count. They have to be on their mat, and Jeff asks the question. First person to get asked a question by Jeff at the first immunity challenge, not the opening challenge. It's the first immunity challenge. Who you got?
Yeah, some promo pictures have come out about like a challenge that's taking place on Wednesday night, and it doesn't look like there's gonna be much water. But I'm thinking, let's go crazy. Episode 1, let's have a water challenge. And if you're doing a water challenge, who are you gonna go to first? The guy who carried his tribe on his back. No, it wasn't Boston Rob. It was Jonathan Young carrying his tribe on his back. And so I think talk to him, be like, yo, look at this water challenge. Are you ready again, Jonathan? Something like that.
I love that. I'm going with Christian, though, because he's going to go before he talks about the challenge. He's got to talk to them about what's it been like being out here. Well, Jeff, it's kind of like, and he's just going to go to him for an analogy, and it's going to hit right off the bat. So I'm going with Christian, but I get the Jonathan love there it could be as simple as they're standing on the mat and Jeff goes, Jonathan, you remember this one? And Jonathan just goes, yeah, I remember this one, Mr. Jeff. That counts, but they got to be on the mat, and it's got to be when they're all in there. It's not just, how you doing? How's it going? But once they're on the mat, how was your first 3 days, Christian? Oh, it was great. That's it.
Like it. I like it.
So, all right.
Chat thinks Jenna.
I think Jenna's probably going to get the first question at the opening challenge, not the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
I think her story is done after the opening challenge. Maybe Jeff will say, Jenna, what's it like? Totally different game. Yeah, totally different. But I think that comes after he probably asks a little bit more. Although the Jenna answer isn't a bad one, because that is a very good point of like, they come in, Jenna, what was it like your first 10 days or first 10 hours? A lot different than when I played back in season 1, Jeff. And Jeff just starts crying and he's like, say it again, Jenna, say it again. Yeah, that's a good one. But I do feel like a lot of that's going to come from the opening challenge, not the first immunity. So, All right, Russell, we've made it to the last question here.
We've done it.
We've done it. Ready?
I feel like we're both having like good guesses here. It's really good.
I feel like this is a fun podcast format too, because this isn't just like, who do you think's safe? Who do you think's not safe? It's who do you think's going to do this random thing that might or might not happen on the episode. And so the next one is, who, other than Mike White, will mention the White Lotus? Now, for this one, they have to mention the White Lotus. They can't be like, oh yeah, it's like Jennifer Coolidge. That doesn't count. Jennifer Coolidge is in the White Lotus. Jennifer Coolidge isn't the White Lotus. They have to mention the White Lotus. Mike White's gone and done the White Lotus. Or even if I think I'd even give it if it was like Mike White went into that show where they're on that was based on Survivor. I think I might even give it to that, but it can't just be like, oh, Jennifer Coolidge was on that. So who's going to be somebody other than Mike White that is going to mention the White Lotus?
I've never seen the White Lotus. So I
still haven't watched season 3. Don't tell anybody. I got to get there.
Okay.
Mike White actually called me and he was like, Phil, if you would just watch season 3, your whole life would be put together. And I'm like, you know what, Mike, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not there yet. Mike White did not call me. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. There's a few answers here that I would go with. The early obvious ones are Christian and Angelina. Mm-hmm. They played with Mike. They cameoed on the White Lotus. That makes sense. Like, hey, Christian could talk about, hey, my buddies Angelina and Mike White are on this season as well. I was actually on a show that Mike White made, whatever. But I don't like that answer too much because Christian, Angelina, and Mike Wade are all on different tribes. So that's not going to work. So then you look at, okay, who's on the teal tribe with Mike Wade? You go Tiffany, nah. Camilla, maybe. Jonathan, not a chance. D, maybe, talking about how she hates it. And I watched a little bit of preseason stuff, not much, but a little bit. And D was hating on it. Coach, no. Chrissy, I don't think so. Then who do we got here? Who's
the same answer as what we got here?
Yeah, who's the Swiftie who I think is going to be all in on the White Lotus? It's this guy right here. It's Charlie Davies.
Oh, actually, we have a different answer. Then I have Tiffany.
Oh, there you go.
So we both went with 46, but I'm going with Tiffany because I feel like Tiffany, that could be part of her story. But that's a good point with the Swiftie thing. He's going to be the pop culture guy. That is what his role is they go to him for pop culture.
Yep.
Oh, I should have went Charlie. I already locked in Tiffany, and I don't want to change it to you, but you probably have the better pick there with Charlie.
I like it. I think I do too. That's why I picked it.
That's a good one. Yeah, I went with Tiffany because I'm trying to figure out like what else would their story be. And I could see, Tiffany coming out and it's like, what did Mike do on his season again? And it's like, I don't know, but he did the White Lotus. And I feel like Tiffany is very in tune probably with what's going on. I do agree though. It has to be somebody from his tribe. Yeah. I feel like it has to be. They're not just going to keep highlighting the White Lotus all over the place.
This was awesome. How many questions was this?
10.
What, 10 questions? Is it going to be 10 questions every week?
It's going to be 10 questions every week. Now, some will repeat, some won't. So, like, I'll probably do who will get the most confessionals in a week, every week. But obviously, like, Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol won't be in there after episode 1. So it's going to just depend kind of on what I'm feeling. I'm going to kind of do it based on what happened in this last episode. Okay, so what's the preview for next episode? What can we assume is going to happen? Will John, but everything, the answer to every question has to be a player. So there will be some repetition in all of these, but I feel like it's a fun format. And I feel like getting all 10 of these is good. And we'll see where it goes. So that's the last preseason Survivor 50 episode I am doing. My God. But that doesn't mean I'm done because right after this, I'm recording the premiere of Australian Survivor Redemption recap podcast. So I'm not done tonight, but I am done with Survivor 50 preseason content, which is just a wild world to be in because that started last May.
Yep. Some of my best videos over the past little while were early Survivor 50 stuff. Survivor 50 is gonna be awesome. I think everyone's gonna be all in on it. People are gonna want as much Survivor 50 content as they can get. And I think if chat listens to the guest every week, they'll do a pretty good job at winning. If they listen to Phil, I don't know too much. So make sure you're listening to the guest, whoever it is, every week, and not Phil. That's what I'm going to think there.
So my question is, are you going to do this every week after you get 1 point week 1, or are you going to stop?
Yeah, if I go 0 for 10, I'm definitely going to stop, delete the app and not do this ever again. But if I do okay, I'll keep going in on it. This might be part of my weekly listen, this podcast. I like it.
I feel like, hey, it's a simple one. It's a quick, easy, whatever. I got Survivor Analytics, Clyde from Survivor Analytics next week. He's already locked in. So like I got guests lined up for this one, and I feel like it's a fun one. It's a little bit quicker than predictions and power rankings because we're not ranking 24 people, so it's not going to take a full hour and a half. You also got the easier one here, though, because we're not actually talking about what did you think about what happened last week and what's going to happen this week. We're basing this off of entirely just their online personas and who they are. So anyway, if you're still listening, like this video. It's amazing. I say it, and everybody's like, yeah, maybe. But then it's like, no, we have like 100 people listening, and then we end up with 26 likes when we're done. It helps greatly. So please like the video. And if you want to participate, again, the link is in the description for this video, Real TV Fantasy. And if you want to play along in our other games, this one is for everybody. But if you want to play along in our fantasy game, make sure you become a top tier patron before the premiere. And then you can go join the link. It's in the top tier patron super chat over there on Patreon, whatever it's called. And so you can join it from there. And you can go ahead and you can join the league and play and have a good time and win potential prize. That'll be the one that's coming from you. That'll be your what puzzle? The Fitz Tower.
The Michelle, yeah, the Fitz Tower, the tower that Michelle stacks, kicks over, wins a couple times. It's a really challenging one. Phil's got it, but he's pretty slow.
Yeah, I didn't do very good at it. So Russell's got so we got that. That'll be the prize for the fantasy game, and then on top of that, we got the power rankings game, which that one doesn't start till after week 1. And my first guest for that just confirmed it all today. Sunday, 8 p.m. Hopefully they can fly back from New York where everybody's in a snowball fight. It's going to be Sophie Bellardi. So that is my first guest for Sunday at 8 p.m. So really excited about that one. And on Thursday for Digging Deeper, pretty sure we got ourselves Davey showing back up. So things to get excited about. We got a lot of good guests for this season, trying to dig a little deep and find some people we haven't had in a while, but also getting some of the hits as well. So really, really excited for this season. Really, really happy, Russell, that you were able to join here. Why don't you show us your 2 puzzles there? Are you happy to do that? Do you want to show off what's going on bigger and better for season 50?
So this is crazy. I haven't shown this out at all yet. No one's seen this ever. One of the puzzles we sell for the Survivor 50 drop, we're going to have 16 different puzzles. These are all tabletop miniature replicas you can put on your table at your office, or I have one on my desk right here. This is Spencer's 5-piece puzzle. Raymond or Spencer Bledsoe from Survivor. This was Second Chances. This was the puzzle he solved in 5 seconds after seeing it in Survivor Worlds Apart, memorized it, and it was an immunity challenge. He put this together within 5 seconds. Everyone went crazy. This was a fan favorite, but with Survivor 50, we are doing the Survivor 50 Idle Plays, the big series, where we're selling the real size Survivor puzzles. So we're going to do this, and we're going to be doing 2 others, which I'm not going to announce yet, but we're doing 3 different big real size Survivor puzzles where one of them is literally like this big. And the crazy part is the whole puzzle for the miniature is this size. And the small piece, the smallest piece you have for the big one, is bigger than the whole thing.
Nice.
So this is huge. It's going to be Idle Plays, idleplays.com. It's going to be out Wednesday. I'm going to release everything and get the website back up and running again. And Phil,
if you're going to buy it, use our link so I get a commission.
Yeah, Phil, and make sure you use the specialist link. It's going to be awesome. If you're a Survivor fan, if you're hosting parties, or if you just want to live the life of a Survivor, these puzzles and games are a lot of fun. Make sure you check them out.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah, I have a bunch of them. They're fun. They're fun. The problem is I stink at the tree puzzle and it frustrates the hell out of me. So then I'm like, nope, not going to do that one anymore. But yeah, check out idleplays.com. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you're into Australian Survivor Redemption, McKenna and I are going live right after this. If you're not, the next time I will see you will be Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern time after the premiere of Survivor Season 50. Can't believe we're there. We've made it. So thank you all so much for listening. Hope you all enjoyed this podcast. Hope you enjoy what this game is going to be this year. I'm excited for it to be a weekly show, and I hope that you're all as into it as I am because this was a lot of fun. And that's it. I'll see y'all later. Nice wave. Get it going.